Hello everybody, my name is Davis and welcome back to another video, and today we're here for another weather breakdown. Now today we're going to be talking about a severe weather outbreak and an upcoming winter storm in the same video, okay? So let's not waste any time, let's go ahead and get right into it. We got a slight risk of severe weather for the rest of the night for parts of extreme southeastern Mississippi, southern Alabama, the extreme northwestern Florida panhandle, and extreme southwestern Georgia. This is mainly driven by a tornado threat, but there will be an isolated damaging wind threat associated with that, so look out for that. We go into tomorrow. This storm will move off to the east here, impacting portions of far southeastern Alabama, the Florida Panhandle, southern Georgia, South Carolina, even southern North Carolina. And again, this is driven by tornadoes, but also damaging winds as another first threat, alright? Damaging winds and tornadoes are both going to be high-end threats tomorrow. They're going to need to watch out for if you are in this area. Hail is going to be more of a secondary threat. Damaging winds and tornado are the main things, but we may see an isolated hailstone up to golf ball size or so. Alright, but we go into Sunday and you see that severe weather risk plummets. So we're going to take a look at what the models are showing for this storm, alright? So this is right now. We've got storms sweeping across the southern United States at the minute. We've got quite a bit of moisture in the Midwest as well, alright? Now these storms by 1 a.m. tonight are going to kind of really break apart here, right? But they will start to turn into a linear threat here once we get into 5 a.m. in the morning, all right? We're going to see potentially some damaging winds, maybe an isolated tornado across portions of South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama. We go into 5 p.m. Tomorrow. We're going to be seeing some thunderstorms in portions of the Delmarva Peninsula area, but then that's when our winter storm starts up here for portions of New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, even areas in Massachusetts could see some snow, all right? But also, if you're in this area, after the snow ends, you're likely going to be dealing with some pesky thunderstorms as well, alright? We go ahead and take a look at 1 a.m. on Sunday here. We see a huge mixture of thunderstorms and heavy snowfall up here in the northeast, alright? Then the snowfall does kind of start to take over as the temperatures cool off, alright? We go into 5 a.m. on Sunday, and it's mostly snow, and then eventually that will ride up through Maine and then leave the United States, okay? And with maybe just a little bit of lake effect snow left falling in areas of New York, Vermont, and maybe even New Hampshire, okay? So snow totals for this storm are actually going to be quite significant. There are areas in northern New York that could see over a foot of snow. Maybe even an isolated spot gets closer to a foot and a half of snow, all right? Some areas may even get past that. We may see an isolated area that gets up to, 2 feet, all right? And if you are in this little spot here in New York that is getting predicted to have 29 inches of snow by this model, don't get your hopes up if you're a snow lover, because even though that is what this model is technically predicting, this little patch of snow could really be anywhere in upstate New York, alright? It is likely that we're going to have a burst of snow somewhere between 20 and 30 inches in total, but it may not be in this exact spot that this model is showing, alright? It may be a little bit further to the north, maybe a little bit further to the south, so just look out, because some extremely heavy snowfall is coming, and right now they are predicting upwards of 29 inches with that little burst of snow. We're just gonna have to find out who gets lucky and who gets unlucky, alright? Vermont, you could be looking at about a foot or more of snow if you're in central Vermont, maybe even isolated spots getting up to a foot and a half. New Hampshire, similar story, all right? Massachusetts, the northwest corner of the state could get a good dumping of snow, maybe upwards of 3/4 of a foot, but the rest of the state is just going to be left with a few inches, and if you're in the Cape Cod area, you might not see anything out of this system. Maine, you're going to be looking at quite a bit of snow in western Maine, but this system will start to die out by the time it gets into the eastern portion of the state, but you may still get 1/4 of a foot of snow, maybe an isolated spot reach a half a foot of snow in eastern Maine. Pennsylvania, the western part of the state, may see a few inches, but other than that, I'm not expecting much for Pennsylvania. There is predicted to be an isolated spot in northeastern Pennsylvania that gets 9 inches of snow, but again, that little spot could be anywhere else, right? And in fact, I'm expecting that to be into New York. I don't think totals of like 9 inches of snow are going to really spill into Pennsylvania. It's just not likely in my opinion. So those are just my thoughts on this model run. Finally, watches, warnings, and advisories. We do have flood watches in effect for portions of the deep south. Look out for flooding with this system as it moves out here. Winter storm watches up for this storm here that will be approaching the northeast, so look out for that. But other than that, pretty calm right now. So if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Stay safe.